For most of human history, making money was not just an economic matter. It was also a marker of social status. Profit existed. Trade flourished. Merchants crossed continents carrying silk, silver, and spices. But for a person to pursue wealth consciously, systematically, and relentlessly, to make it the central purpose of their life, this was unsettling in medieval Europe. Working hard was good, but becoming rich had become a goal. Charging interest, usury was increasing. Striving for wealth could be seen as greed. The ideal figure was not a successful merchant, but a monk who had renounced everything. Yet within a few centuries, everything would reverse. The Netherlands, England, and later America. In these societies, the pursuit of wealth was no longer suspicious. It was virtuous. So what changed? How did a civilization that viewed the pursuit of wealth with suspicion begin to celebrate trade, accumulation, and prosperity? The answer lies in a revolution of belief. Welcome to the world of the financial historian, where wealth, power, and history collide, and where nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Before the Protestant Reformation, Europe's economy stood under the shadow of Catholic morality. The church was not just a religious institution, but a force that shaped how society thought. There was trade, there were markets, bankers financed kings, but there were limits they could not cross. Most importantly, the ban on interest. Money was not supposed to generate money. Today, this idea may seem strange, but at the time, the growth of debt was seen as a threat to society. So wealth existed, but it was not glorified. What was truly praised was humility, simplicity, and distance from materialism. Monasteries symbolized this ideal. Those who rejected wealth were seen as more virtuous than those who accumulated it. But reality was different. Take the Medici family, for example. They built Europe's largest bank. They financed kings and even the papacy. But they also made massive donations to churches and hospitals. Why? Because money meant power. But it still needed moral justification. Then in 1517, everything changed. Martin Luther published his 95 Theses. He criticized the sale of indulgences, and the Protestant Reformation began. This was not just a religious split. People's entire outlook on life began to change, especially their view of work. In the Middle Ages, the sacred figure was the clergyman. Luther overturned this idea. Every profession was sacred. The blacksmith, the farmer, the merchant. Everyone had a calling, and doing one's job well was a form of service to God. This may have seemed like a small shift, but it wasn't. Work was no longer just a means of survival. It became a spiritual duty. Then came John Calvin, and he pushed the idea even further. In his doctrine, there was predestination. Salvation was already determined. Fate. But people began to wonder, am I among the chosen? Calvin never gave a clear answer. But over time, a perception emerged. A disciplined life, an orderly lifestyle, hard work. These were signs of being favored. And the result was this mindset. Work, earn, but do not spend. Work even more. This is the heart of capitalism. Accumulation, the growth of capital, the expansion of business, an economy that feeds itself. In 1905, Max Weber recognized this. He said, Protestantism did not create capitalism, but it created the mindset that made it possible. Discipline, saving, planning, investment. Making money was no longer just a necessity. It became a moral act. And the strongest example of this mindset was the Netherlands, a small country, limited resources, but a massive economy. Amsterdam became a financial center. The world's largest trading fleet was built. In 1602, the VOC was established, one of the first major joint stock companies in history. The stock market system emerged. The modern exchange was born. But the real difference was this: profit was not consumed, it was reinvested. Money began to produce money. The same story unfolded in England. The Puritan ethic: work, be disciplined, do not waste time. In 1694, the Bank of England was founded. London rose, and this culture spread to America. Centuries later, what we call civilization was modern capitalism. But there is a critical point here. Capitalism did not arise solely from technology, laws, or trade. It emerged from a mindset, from how people answered one question: what is work? If the answer is a necessity, the economy grows slowly. But if the answer is a form of worship, a status symbol, everything changes. Savings increase, investment increases, capital grows. The Protestant Reformation did not create capitalism, but it normalized the mindset that made it possible. Because societal transformations are not built on money, they are built on beliefs.